Karen?
Good morning. I want to speak this morning and come from two perspectives based on my experience, not only as a chief for a major department in the state of Maryland, but as a rank-and-file police officer for 28-odd years. From a chief's perspective, obviously, and a sheriff's as well, it's obviously a political issue. Politics drives everything that a chief of police does because, quite frankly, they're appointed by politicians. They serve at the pleasure of politicians. I was a chief for 4 years. New governor, new chief. That's the world we live in when you're in law enforcement in higher ranks. From a sheriff's perspective, they're driven by the needs and wants of their constituents. They're elected officials. They're no different than council people or anybody else in the town that might happen to get elected. So they're driven by the needs and wants of their constituents. Therein lies the problem and the disconnect in this situation between rank and file police officers who simply want to do a better job every day in responding to the concerns of their constituents, which is crime. That's what rank and file officers do every day. They simply go on the street and look for ways to solve crimes and solve the problems in their communities. That's why you see two different approaches to 287G. The Fraternal Order of Police, which is a rank and file police organization, supports 287G and the expansion of it. The IECP, which is a group of chiefs, and I belong to both organizations, which causes me a lot of headaches sometimes, but they don't, because they don't want to have to fight this battle, in my view, with their elected officials and the people that appoint them. They simply want to put the blinders on and leave it up to the rank and file. You know, chiefs had this battle. We fought this battle. We lost it in the late 90s, early 2000s, when police officers across this country were accused of racial profiling. We lost that battle. Chiefs lost their jobs. The superintendent of New Jersey State Police lost his job over racial profiling. It's illegal. It's illegal in the state of Maryland. I will investigate my officers. If they are found to have committed racial profiling, I will terminate them. It's punishable by jail time in the state of Maryland for police officers to engage in racial profiling. We used to call it, and I called it, as chief and as a union leader, criminal profiling. I know my community. As a rank and file police officer in Baltimore City for 28 years, I knew my community. I knew the area I worked. The folks from ICE, I needed them for resources. I needed the DEA, I needed the FBI, it was Customs at the time. I needed those folks for the resources from the federal government. But they needed me in the community because I was there for 28 years, and I was going to be there throughout my career. Folks in the federal government move. If you're in a particular community for 4 or 5 years, that's a long time. So I knew the crime problems in my community. And when I say I, police officers, we know the crime problems in the community, how to address them, who's committing them. We need the resources of the federal government to accomplish that mission. You know, it's no different than any other task force that law enforcement might be on, whether it's a gun task force or a narcotics enforcement task force, where we work side by side with either DEA, FBI, ATF, you know, the alphabet super federal government. It was us, boots on the ground, being local law enforcement, out there interacting with the community every day, and the federal government as backup supplying the resources that we need. For local law enforcement not to be involved in enforcing illegal immigration ties their hands in any crime they want to investigate. It's a tool. It's no different than my ability as a law enforcement officer. And I'll give you an example. On Interstate 95, which was my responsibility from the Delaware line to just south of Baltimore, I used to tell my officers, we have a unique opportunity here. We have a toll booth. This is prior to Easy Pass. We had a toll booth. We get to look every person that travels our roadway in the eye. That's unique for law enforcement. You can't do that anywhere else. I have the opportunity as law enforcement to spot everybody that comes through. I can read their tag with an automatic tag reader. I can look them in the eye. I can look for indicators on renter cars, out-of-state tags, people driving too fast, too slow, whatever the indicators might be for a particular crime. And I could, based on my experience, stop that vehicle. Give me another tool now. Give me another tool to be able to run them on my Palm Pilot, everybody in that vehicle. Keep them no longer than a normal traffic stop would be, because the courts look at that. Okay, you can't keep somebody on the side of the highway for 2 hours while you try to check out their status. Okay, but if I have access to that database, my officer on the street, within a matter of seconds, can tell whether he has someone that's in this country illegal, and take his investigation then to the next level, based on those indicators, based on their experience, their training, their articulable suspicion, which is what they need to continue that investigation. That's an invaluable tool. And for me not to have it, for me to tell my officers when they graduate from the academy, by the way, I just gave you an oath of office that you swore to uphold the laws of this country, in this community, in this state, except for certain laws. I don't have that authority as chief, and I don't expect to take that message to my officers who are out there every day, doing what the community wants them to do, and that's protect them, being proactive. Okay, it's no good if I have to look for someone outside this country after they commit a crime. In my mind, it's too late. We're in the cleanup phase at that point. Okay, my goal as a law enforcement official is to prevent that crime from happening. And if I can do that, whether it's on a street corner in Baltimore City or on the interstate highway, I want the tools of a program like 287G behind me, particularly the third part, the investigative component. That's really where law enforcement, that's our bread and butter. And I think it allows us to serve our to do our duty, to serve our constituents, and do it in the most effective manner possible.